Many years ago, I had a boyfriend with whom I would have the same fight again and again. He would tell me, I'm being logical, you're being emotional. And I would say, emotions have their own logic. You just refuse to learn what that logic is. Now, needless to say, this relationship didn't last, but I think what I said in those fights was totally true. So much so that I've actually built my whole career around it. I think emotions are the most important thing in the world because everything you do is to create an emotion or to avoid an emotion. Seriously, look around at everything you're doing right now. Why are you responding to emails and messages? Because you want to feel productive and useful and on top of things. Why are you working so hard to get promoted and go to the next level in your career? Because you want to feel smart and accomplished and successful. Why do you want to go out and do stuff on the weekends? Because you don't want to feel bored or stagnant or a sense of FOMO. In fact, you can pause right now in the middle of listening to me talk and ask yourself, why are you doing this? Why are you listening to this video? What emotion are you trying to create or trying to avoid right now by listening to me talk? Everything you do is to create an emotion or to avoid an emotion. So it might be helpful to learn the math of emotions. And yes, there is math to emotions. And like I told my ex-boyfriend, it's not even that hard. You just have to learn it. Here is the math equation that rules all your emotions and therefore rules everything you do and everything you want in the world. Just the framework that's floating here next to me all the time. And I'm just going to make it big so you can really look at it in case you're watching the video. And if you're just listening to the audio, all it says is circumstance, and there's a big bold line, and then it says thought, which leads to feeling, which leads to action, which leads to result, and the result creates evidence that reinforces the thought that you started with. This is not even math. It is really just a flowchart. And the most important thing that this flowchart can teach you about your emotions is that the call is coming from inside the house. AKA, your feelings are not being created by the outside world, by your circumstances. Your feelings are not being created by what people said and what people did and how things turned out and everything that's ever happened to you and everything that continues happening to you to this day. Your feelings are being created by your thoughts, by your interpretation of all those things, your interpretation of your circumstances. Now, I know it doesn't feel like you're sitting around and making interpretations all the time. Stuff happens, and then you feel an emotion instantaneously. So it kind of feels like, what thoughts? What interpretations? Stuff in the outside world is just reaching inside me and pushing my buttons directly. But what's really happening is that your automatic brain is making instant, effortless, unstoppable interpretations for you. And those instant, effortless, unstoppable interpretations are creating all the emotions that you feel. So in order to feel the way that you want to feel, and remember, everything you do is to create an emotion or avoid an emotion. So feeling the way that you want to feel is pretty much the only thing that you want. So if you want to feel the way you want to feel, you have to understand the architecture of automatic thoughts that is making you feel the way you feel today. And then you have to tweak that architecture until it creates the feelings and the outcomes that you want. You do not have to furiously do more stuff until you feel better. You do not have to desperately achieve more things until you feel better. If you've been doing stuff and achieving things for a while, but none of those actions and none of those achievements have led to a permanent change in how you feel day to day, it's time to go to the actual root cause of your feelings and work from there. Now, the good news is that getting the thing you want most, which is to feel a certain way, is 100% in your control. The weird news is that the most effective path for getting it feels quite intuitive. It feels really intuitive that you should do more stuff or get more stuff to feel better. The reality is you have to change your thoughts. And this is why it can be really helpful to have a coach. So come talk to me and let's do some emotional math problems together. You can drop by anytime for a no strings attached coffee chat. It's not a sales pitch or a sales call, just an opportunity for us to talk about whatever's on your mind, and I'll give you some one-off coaching and brainstorming about your situation. The link to book a coffee chat is above. Or you can also book a consult call and we can map out what a full coaching engagement could look like. You can't learn a semester's worth of calculus in an hour, and you also can't learn a lifetime's worth of emotional math in an hour. But you can learn it over a few months with regular teaching and practice and homework, and that's what a coaching package is all about. Think about it as one-on-one tutoring for the most important class of your life. And let's start today. The link to book a free consult call is above, or if you're listening on Instagram, all the links are in my bio, or if you're listening on the podcast, all the links are in my episode description.